Good evening. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for those who came in time. Traffic no more should be the reason to come late. So thank you those who have come on time, but we will still welcome those who are coming, but we should start. Why we are here, some of you know, some partially know, and some of whom are the reason behind the function today are also here. I'm Kirti Azad, and my introduction here is I'm Roney's friend. So we are here for the release of RRR, and the book is named, that's how I saw it, the book is named Respect, Reverence and Responsibility, which is all about care and compassion for patients of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. As you know, the book is authored by Dr. Roney George, and the book is a part of his partial fulfillment of his PhD program that he is about to finish, and then we can officially formally call Dr. Roney George. But that aside, this book, Respect and Responsibility, is about the moral imperative and philosophical basis of the care of Indian elderly, with a special reference to dementia and Alzheimer's. More on this, the journey of the book, and as I said, some of the people who are reason behind this making of this book, and the motivations, the guidance, all that would be shared here. The all-important release of the book is the main objective of today's event. And of course, some who know, some who may not know, but there is a surprise announcement and celebration besides the book release. So we'll also share that as we go along. So first thing first, we would give a brief introduction, and I know most of them, they do not need any introduction, and I'll also request them to come on the dais. So we begin by inviting our chief guest today with your round applause, Dr. Mohan Agashe, onto the dais. Please, Roney, if you could accompany Sir to the dais. As I said, Dr. Agashe does not need any introduction, but we can have one more round of applause, as very recently he was confirmed with the Pune Bhushan title. You would have read in the newspapers, followed it. We are proud of that, sir. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Dr. Agashe has also written the foreword of the book, and we would get to hear and understand what he thinks of the book, and also benefit from his perspective on mental health as a subject itself, Alzheimer's and dementia in particular. Next, I invite the key person behind the book, the motivation, guidance, Father Kuruvilla, onto the stage. Father Kuruvilla has graced all the way from XLRI Jamshedpur to Pune. Father Kuruvilla was, as I said, guide for the PhD program for Roney George. He was former Dean of Philosophy at Jnanadeepa Institute of Philosophy and Theology, Pune. Currently, he is Professor for Business Ethics in XLRI Jamshedpur, and he is based there. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion. Thank you, Father. And continuing with those who do not need introduction, someone who is so respected and regarded in the field of mental health and beyond, Dr. Vidyadhar Bhatve, sir, is here with us. Roney, please accompany sir to the stage. Sir is a senior psychiatrist, as you know, ex-president of Indian Psychiatric Society, And Vatve sir has also written the recommendations in the book. Last but not the least, Dr. Ullas Luktuge. Roney, please accompany sir to the dais. Sir is a senior psychiatrist, a orator, writer, multifaceted personality. Thank you, sir, for being with us. We welcome all of you here on this very proud occasion. I now request the how should I say, the lead actor of today's event, Mr. Roney George, and I request Roney to present a rose to each of our guests and welcome them formally. All right. So to begin with hearing and learning from perspectives of the present guest, I first would like to hand over the mic to Father Kuruvilla, as I said, who was the guide for Roney's PhD program, and also Roney has been immensely, received motivation and guidance as he went through the journey of the book. So I hand over mic to Father Kuruvilla. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kirti. Respected dignitaries on the stage, Roney, and all the dear guests present here. After the surprise, which will come later, I just want to briefly speak about these 3 R's which you spoke about, which Kirti introduced us to. The respect every person, every individual, whether sick, whether poor, whether people with dementia or Alzheimer's disease, every person deserves the respect that is his or her due. Reverence. Reverence for life. Reverence for the God who is outside and for the God who is inside. Reverence for every living as well as non-living beings. And all of us are called to be responsible to one another, responsible to our fellow human beings. This is briefly, I believe, the summary of what Roney has traveled, journeyed for more than 4 years. Congratulations, Roney, for your work. Roney George has been part of Jnanadeepa, Pontifical Institute of Philosophy and Theology, which, as most of you know, is now located at Ramwadi, Pune. 140 years ago, that is in the year 1893, it began in Kandy as the formation house as Papal Seminary. After independence, the same institute moved over to Pune in 1955, and Jnanadeepa has been pursuing academic studies in philosophy and in theology with rigor and with contextual relevance. We are very happy that Roney has been part of this journey, and he has completed this journey, and as it has been already said, this work is part of his doctoral thesis. He would be officially recognized as a doctor after a few months when the Senate of the Institute will award him the degree. Therefore, thanks to all of you for being part of Roney's life. Congratulations, Roney, for this wonderful product and for the good work that you have been doing for the elderly and for the mentally challenged people. Congratulations, all the best. God bless you.
So now the all-important event. Before that, when you get your hands, some of you might have already seen the book. When you get your hand hold of this book and you turn it around and look at the reverse side, I just want to read this paragraph for you to get a sense of gist of what this book is all about. This book studies critically and empathetically the situation of the elderly in India, especially those with dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and proposes ways of improving their lifestyle, providing meaning and respect, dignity, and worth to their lives based on moral and philosophical concerns. Based on his 25 years of experience, his means Roney George, based on his 25 years of experience of serving the mentally challenged and geriatric patients, this book takes the problem of the elderly earnestly and proposes viable solutions, which the family and the larger society can consider seriously. Convinced that the society and family owe a lot to the elderly, the research findings of the book contribute significantly to the physical, psychological, and spiritual well-being of the elderly. So that's the gist of what this book aims at. And now, before we go on to the release, book release function, I request Kumawat sir to felicitate Roney George in the traditional Maharashtrian way. Can we get the... If you can come little ahead. Sir, thoda Kumar sir. Thank you. Thank you, Kumawat sir. Now I request the esteemed guests, our chief guest, Dr. Agashe sir, Dr. Vatve sir, Dr. Luktuke sir, Father Kuruvilla and Roney, to go ahead and let us have the first look of the book. So may I request you to rise and release the book officially. So the loud round of applause, please. Respect, reverence, and responsibility, care and compassion for patients of dementia and Alzheimer's disease by Roney George. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. RRR has been officially formally released. I would like to take advantage of presence of such esteemed guests who have in one way or the other shaped the making of this book. And I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Vidyadhar Vatve sir for sharing his perspective and thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, friends. Father Kuruvilla, mentor for Roney George, author of the book RRR, Dr. Mohan Agashe, Dr. Ullas Luktuke, my psychiatrist friends in the crowd, celebrities like Girish, and friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take not half a minute, maybe 5 minutes to say something about this problem of dementia. Roney has whatever he had to say about philosophical, cultural, everything he has written in the book, and Kirti has also read the back cover. I'm sure Mohan Agashe is considered as a policy maker as far as mental health is concerned, not only in the state of Maharashtra, but even recognized in the center. So we'll say something about policy making as far as this management of dementia is concerned. Dr. Luktuke will share the psychological and the cultural aspects of this dementia. Since I am a medical doctor, I will share the medical facts of this illness. Friends, dementia is a blanket word. It's like saying fever. You can have corona, you can have typhoid, you can have jaundice. Anything and everything is accompanied by fever. The dementia, 50%, we equate dementia to Alzheimer's disease. No, only 50%, because 50 to 60% are Alzheimer's disease. We call it dementia almost same as Alzheimer's. No, Alzheimer's disease is 50%, another 20% is vascular dementia, where there are risk factors of diabetes, hypertension, etc. People go stepwise downhill. Third is frontotemporal dementia, which can start right at the age of 50. Please remember that dementia can start right at the age of 40, just as Parkinson can start right at the age of 30. We call it young onset Parkinson. You can have young onset stroke. You can have a hemiplegia at the age of 40. So all these subtypes of dementias is last 20 years research that neurologists and various other workers working in this field have contributed. Don't be happy to say dementia. Say subtype of dementia. Correct? And all subtypes, including Alzheimer, frontotemporal, vascular, whatever subtype, everything has got something called biological or behavioral and behavioral and psychological aspects of this. We call it BPSD. Behavior and psychological symptoms of dementia. Patient, 60, 70 years old, Alzheimer or vascular, may behave funnily, may do something which is not done in public, may unrobe himself. So all these are behavior and psychological symptoms of dementia. BPSD is common to all subtypes of dementia. As a medical fraternity, all scientists, researchers, they are all trying to come out with new molecules. But friends, as far as Alzheimer, because it's most common, I'm telling you, from diagnosis of Alzheimer to death, it can be anything between 3 years to 10 years. Only the medicines will not stop the progress, which slow down the progress. Instead of going like this, they will go slowly. Okay, but still, death is inevitable, end is inevitable in Alzheimer. So is the case with other subtypes of dementia. So the problem really comes, everybody wants to treat his patient when he's at home. Institutional care is the last thing that you should recommend. As far as possible, you should treat the patient at his home place, because he's aware of what is the surroundings are, where is the light button, etc., etc. In the institute, he feels completely blackout for him. But this same thing, taking care of this dementia patient at his residence, takes toll on the patient, toll on the relatives. We call it caregiver stress. Caregivers, friends, stress is common in even psychotic disorder like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Most is common in dementia, because there the patient is not likely to respond immediately like he will respond to antipsychotic if he has got schizophrenia. So this caregiver's burden is the biggest thing. 30% of them have got major depression, right? On top of it, every patient of dementia, especially Alzheimer, can have a proper psychiatric disorder like schizophrenia. We don't call it schizophrenia, we call it psychosis, and everything undertaken under the rubric of BPHD. So this is the challenge of this illness, this great illness. And as the longevity increases, people above 85, almost 90% will have Alzheimer's or any subtype of dementia. So caregiver's burden, the emotional aspects and emotional management of these people, and the caregiver's problem, to address that we need help of a psychiatrist, not only psychiatrist, it's a teamwork, friends. I cannot say that I am the only person who can treat dementia. It's a teamwork of a psychiatrist, who is the center, psychologist. We have a person like Roney, who is looking after the other angles of it, psychiatric social worker, and even psychiatrically trained nurses, psychiatrically trained attendants. All this is a teamwork. It's not one-man job, it's a teamwork. And with all this, I think I'll request you to go through this book and really feel the necessity why this is important. It's the most important contribution. Roney, I'll congratulate you. So to Father Kuruvilla, I think that's all I had to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your perspective. It's always very, very enriching to hear you. I now would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Luktuge for his perspective and his thoughts. Thank you, sir.
In anticipation, I would say Dr. Roney Judge and his teacher and my friend Mohan Agashe and my friend Vidyadhar and all of you. What I feel is the title. First thing which is hit in dementia or in Alzheimer's is the respect. Why do you want this? The old man simple, he wants simple things, like give me my cup of tea. What's wrong? But others would say, why do you want it? जरा जास्तच करतात बरं का हे थोडंसं. The way people look at the gradual loss of that person, of his grip on reality. So I feel that these three aspects, the respect, reverence, and the responsibility. Who should take the responsibility of the old person? Here are the people who are working on that field. Which is the right place? Either the home or the institution. And those who are admitted into the institution have their own problems because they lose their identity. So training them to develop an identity there, and for those who run the institution to see to it that they retain their identity and their respect. I have seen quite a couple of institutions. I must congratulate Roney. The way the person, the receiver of the care, is treated there. He is respected. That's important thing. So, in my opinion, the title, the respect, reverence, is our responsibility. And the more we stand up to it, the better it is. I wish that we achieve it as early as possible to that end, I wish all the best to Roney George and his teacher, Dr. Kuruvilla, in this endeavor that they have undertaken. Thank you.
And now I'm sure you all want to hear our chief guest, Dr. Mohan Agashe. So without any much ado, I hand over the mic to sir.
सर बैठ के बोले उसके बाद क्वेश्चन पूछना
Well, thank you very much for getting me here. Actually, I'm not as bright academically as my friends are here. So I chose a different medium to express my. The fact of the matter is the advancing longevity in general has made the number more noticeable. And there we have, first thing I think to accept is not consider these patients of dementia as old people, but you have to accept them as your children. It's easier said than done, but the reason I say it, because then acceptance becomes easier. The things manifested by the patients of dementia, if the same things are manifested by a child, you don't mind it. That is because you have a different attitude towards it. So this accepting your elder as your child is the difficult task for those who don't have dementia, because they have ego and the other things. In my film, which has been said, Astu, those who have seen it, there are two women juxtaposed in taking care of the person with Alzheimer. One is his daughter, who is educated and learned, who keeps on having constant questions about why the father is like that. And on the other hand, the Channamma, the so-called uneducated wife of an elephant man, though she begins with saying that, who is this king you have brought to this palace? But very soon then she offers water to him, and few lines of wisdom go from the teeth. What is easy for her is to respect the person as an elderly wise man, but treat him like a child. Now this is a difficult combination, to have respect and love for the same person. And if we really want to inculcate that, then we have to change our attitude and not the person. I think Roney has taken worldview. He's really done a great work in studying this whole phenomena. And I think it must have been a very hard work to go into details of how we basically develop respect, responsibility, and reverence for this. And the result of which is this book, but his thesis is much more longer and bigger. Those who are of academic brain should also try to reach the entire thesis and not only the book. To make such a study, you need a really guiding spirit, which we have seen in Father Kuruvilla. So this is a good combination of a guide and a student. And this is why I'm very happy to be here at the release of this book. I wish Roney has been given mild to moderate to severe pleasant shocks from the time I have known him. So you never know where would come the next shock. But most of the shocks are very pleasant because they are very positive and creative. So I wish him the same spirit of life, and thanking you again. I rest my words here. Thank you.
On that note, so while the book release has happened, we have heard all our guests, learned from their perspective. What I want to do is, so because I'm his friend, I had opportunity to ask him why he does what he does. For the book as well, and what he's planning to do and doing already, I did ask him a few questions. Some were answered and some he said, hey, why don't we do this Q&A while people are here? And he shares those perspectives, and everyone hope you find it useful or interesting. So is that okay? We ask few questions and get to hear from, instead of a speech, we thought maybe this will help. All right, so Roney, all those simple questions that you asked me to ask, I have removed them and replaced them with the tough ones. You know, we all know about Roney. Each of us, Roney would have touched us in different ways, professionally, personally. We all see different shades of Roney as a person, as a caregiver, as someone who is a mental health professional, very passionate about this subject. For me, he is my friend since 1993. We were in college. So I'm sure I know Roney a little bit more than most of you. I know some of my college mates are behind, so they know as much. So I want to ask Roney first. So we all know about this, but research, books, what happened? How did this PhD thought came about? I know you were born in a village setting. You have gone to village schools. Very humble beginning. So I'm very curious to know what happened. What is this journey about? Where are you heading to? Sorry.
Kirti, I think village setting has nothing to do with you reaching new heights. By the way, the former President of India, K.R. Narayanan, is my neighbor. It's about 6 kilometers are the distance between our house. Draupadi Murmu, the present one, comes from Odisha. So I think village life has nothing to do with this. But certainly, when I was a child, I did not have the luxury of going to UKG, LKG, those schools, because it was not there those days. So my teacher, we call him Ashan, that is Masterji, Guruji, whatever it is. He used to make us sit on his lap. There would be a square reti put there. So Ase Leke, all the alphabets were taught in those fashion those days. So his blessings, when I completed 2 years of his Shishyaship, he blessed me with, one day you will complete your MA. So probably he knew MA as the highest degree that, in those days. Probably he did not know anything about a PhD. Now, PhD, it was there in my mind for a long period of time because I happened to clear my net. So I was eligible to enroll for PhD program without an interview, because that was a privilege given to people who have succeeded in net. So I wanted to do, but I have what I was doing in Chaitanya, it was taking care of the patients with a mental illness. Therefore, I thought I have to do something related to that. So, therefore, I chose the subject as dementia and Alzheimer's. There are very few studies that has been done in India, and I thought it is going to be very useful for me in my future, because unless and until you know things, what the family wants. See, Dr. Watwe sir said he is the maximum you should take care of the patients at home, but I am a institutional care person. I support, it's not that as soon as you are diagnosed with this, you get the patient to, any institutional care facility. But eventually, you may need it because of the family, high level of burnout and family burden that is happening, which was quite evident in our family. I have seen my great-grandfather, I have very remote memories of him, but I have seen him being locked up in a big room. And we would, we were scared to look at him, peep through the window. Now I know, as what was some type of dementia probably he must have been going through. My grandmother suffered for 7 to 8 years on bed. Now back home I have 3 other members. One is my father, my maternal aunt, and my paternal aunt. All 3 of them are suffering from this illness. So therefore I thought, why not do some work on this? That's how I have taken this, Kirti.
You answered, I think, one question which I had next fully and one partially. So I'll have to ask some questions extempore. Now, you talked about your personal experience. We know each other since 1993. Now, you talked about NET exam and clearing NET exam, and you then got oriented to do PhD. So, while you're looking at your journey, and you can go back to your journey since you got into mental health to your PhD, and in particular, while writing the book, what has been your experience? Is there any revelation you would want to share, something that you were not aware? How there are many mental health professionals here, so those who have interest in research, academics, what would you want to say to them? How easy or difficult it was?
Yes, I have already answered you partially this question. It was more of a personal touch that I had during this journey because of my family members having this. So I want to really get into more about this, because in future I also anticipate, there can be something. So this, I'm sure that this is going to help me to make an ideal rehab center. Or maybe residential care facility. I want to make it as one of the outstanding place where people can say, look, you go to Chaitanya, where they have a unit for persons with the dementia. It is, you can trust them. Because, pre-COVID, I had taken 5 acres of land in Kalyan village. I thought I will do agro-based rehabilitation there, because it is only 25 kilometers from one of my centers. So I thought the patients would go there and they come back, evening they can come back here. So we will have farm activities there. Then Corona came. Then after Corona, I thought I won't be able to do that. So when I was returning the land, when we were clearing the transaction, he said, look, you need to help me. I said, for what? I'm going to have a old age home here. मैं पूछा, old age home? ऐसे कैसे building? अरे अभी एक shed है इधर और 2-3 मैं बनाऊंगा, and you help me. See, that is not the care. It is not the care. It is the care where, the respect, reverence, and responsibility is should be the prime motto of running a rehab center. Unless and until you really understand the needs of the family members, you really understand the importance of that particular individual, that he or she need to be respected, you cannot do this. While recollecting what Agashe sir was telling, we have a second, it's a second childhood. To a certain extent, I really wanted to ask you this question, because I have seen my father calling my mother his mother, Amma, you come, always. I have seen this in Astu. Dr. Agashe Saab, that professor calling that Chinnamma, I. I have seen that in that film. Then when I went home and I was overhearing, I was listening to their conversation, always he would call out my mother as his mother. So definitely there is a, some connection to when you say that, yes, it is a second childhood, it is there. But there is one difference. When you are a small child, if you soil your cloth, if you have incontinence, you have then also. When you are grown up also, you are likely to have incontinence. Those time, it is taken as a pleasurable thing for the others. अरे वाह वाह, तू किया है क्या? इसमें बोलते हैं गंदा आदमी, इतना बुड्ढा है, फिर भी पता नहीं है. That is the only one difference I have seen when the patients with the dementia or Alzheimer's, we say that it is a second childhood. This is the only way people are differentiating them. If children do, it is fine. If the elderly does it, it is a dirty thing. So this is the reason.
I think you answered two of my next question, but I wanted to touch upon your association with Jnanadeepa. How did that come about? And I think you have some interesting journey back which you would like to recall.
Yeah, Kirti said I have many shades of Roney George. Agashe sir, said he comes up with something shocking at certain times. And I'm sure that none of you are aware about me as a child. My first passion, my attraction was to become a priest, Catholic priest, like Father Kuriola and some of my friends are there. Because, as a child, you look at a priest as a, something different, you get attracted. Maybe, you go to church every day and you consider he is a representative of the God or something, we have as a child. So my first attraction was towards that. So, in order to become a Catholic priest in our Catholic church, when we are studying in 10th standard and all, 8th onwards the process starts. You have to go, first you have to register. Then they will call you for a camp. 7-8 days ka camps rehte hai. Then there are various activities happening there. Then they choose whether you are selected or not. Trust me, I went 4 times, 5 times, I was rejected. The trauma to come back home was horrible. In the sense, when I come, my brother, good morning, father. So my auntie would say, when is the mass? What time is the mass starting? All these things are funny things. And we want to make a confession. So I really used to get frustrated. Somehow I go through with my 10. I joined my plus 2. Unfortunately, I failed in my plus 2. So some people suggested, koi baat nahi, next year you can clear it. Meanwhile, why don't you go to some ITI courses and do some. So I got selected for, I wanted to become a stenographer and typing and stenography. There was a course at that time, but there was no vacancy and I had 1 year to go. So people suggested go for plumbing. Plumbing I joined because those were the days, mid 80s. There used to be a lot of Mallus going to Gulf as plumbers because, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, all these were coming up with a lot of oil companies. So I thought, okay, I will go and earn some money. So my plan was to complete this. Meanwhile, I clear my 12th and continue my studies. Unfortunately, I had a nice company there in that plumbing group. I forgot about my exam. So, I used to be a very good reader in the sense, jo milta hai, I used to read in those days. So, मैं और मेरा cousin, we went to, I will not tell where we went, but ultimately, we bought some chana. So, वो pack करके paper में दिया था. So, I came home and started to reading. So, there was a camp to become priest the very next day. So मैंने बोला, so I had not taken my clothes there. So मैं बोला, I want to go for this. So we slept that night. Morning, I did not, I was not keen to go. So my cousin, he forced me, Chalo, yesterday you told we will go. Then I had an excuse, I don't have clothes. He said, you can wear mine. That way, we went to the camp. Luckily, that time I was selected. So finally, I started my real journey. That was in Madhya Pradesh. I spent 3 years there. I had a lot of opportunities to work with various remote areas of villages with different tribes we could go and stay with, and I had a nice experience. Then after we were 10 people who were supposed to go for philosophy. So I was going for Jammu and Srinagar diocese. You may not know that it is an area where somebody has got a jurisdiction. So I was supposed to be there, and we were 10. My bishop gave me. There was only one person who could apply in Pune. I got the chance. I cleared, and I was supposed to come. This man sitting there, he is my close friend from there, and he was the motivating factor to come to Pune for the studies. Finally, on 7th of June, 93, I came here. By the time, my brother was studying here for his LLB. So he told me, why you want to go for this? Come, let's go to Symbiosis and join there for graduation. So I said, if you are getting me an admission for hotel management, I can come. So original idea was to go for hotel management. I went to Bharati Vidyapith. In those days, apart from the school fees, they asked 15,000 capitation. So my father said, I can give you that. If you are getting a free admission, you can take it. So I told him, now onwards, I will not take money from you. So, so I joined Symbiosis. That is where I met wonderful people like Kirti, Raj, Debjani, Dhanashree, and who else? Satya, all these are, Ram, all these are my friends there. So Joyita also. And then, of course, I had chosen for MSW. And then the story began from there. I started Chaitanya, and therefore, this is my journey. And this is where, in that journey, I missed Papal Seminary and JD, because I actually really wanted to study from there. So when Father Kurivula was the dean there, me, Biju, and Joji, these three people, these are, our olden times friends we are. And we went to meet him. Then I requested, can I do? I did not know that outsiders cannot do, can do PhD there, because it is supposed to be study of philosophy, spirituality, and all the psychological humanities, all those you can do there. But there has to be either philosophy or spirituality connected to that. That is where I had a chance to go to Papal Seminary or JD, and that's how I'm here today.
Some journey this, and while he's my friend, but also he inspires me, because this is some journey. I'm sure you can relate to this. Between the surprise, or not, maybe not surprise for many of you, this is the last question. Your final comment on elderly and the vulnerable, and also what next? What are the plans? Sir said, Agashe sir said, he shocks, and I'm sure there's something in store. So whatever you can share. Last question.
No, in one word, when you talk about elderly person, see, you may find them as useless in terms of financial matters, the support that you get. But you trust me, they are not meaningless. That is what I really want to tell about that. Well, talking about the surprise, and I think it should remain as surprise, but I had one thing I used to get free of cost was dreaming. That comes free, and I always like to dream bigger and bigger. And of course, I used to work also towards that. Of my 3 dreams, 2 I have already achieved. That was one, starting Chaitanya. That was one of my dreams that I have done. Out of 4, 3 I have done. Second, starting restaurants because when I was not having money, income from home, I survived on working in restaurants. So I really thought when I have money, I'll really make a good restaurant. And that is where you are sitting here now. And I'm sure that you would agree with me. I have made a reasonably good restaurant. Now see, starting a psychosocial rehabilitation of my choice, the plans that I have, that remained as a dream for the last 24 years. You know, I bought a piece of land, 10.5 acres, got NA, the plans, everything were made. Unfortunately, I could not take off with that. We found another place, 5 acres of land, 35,000 square feet built up area. I was about to buy that, and you know, I did have personal and professional setback in my life. So therefore, I could not do that. But I'm happy to tell you that when I stand here today, we have acquired another 7 acres of land, which I am sure that at least, see, my dream is next year I'll be completing 25 years of Chaitanya. I hope all of us will be there. I want to open at least one unit there where one of my biggest center will move. That is, you know, it's a historical place. It is in Kalyan village, Jaham Kalyan Darwaja hai. So, you know, it is in Kalyan village, beautiful piece of land. And, you know, don't be surprised about this. This is my plan. And I pray that all of you pray for me to succeed in this. And I look forward for your support. And thank you so much. Any more question? I really want to thank all of you. Father Kuru, we call him Guru and Kuruvilla, both. See, when I started off with this, I thought it would be a cakewalk for me. Then I'm looking at the books, academics, I was very, you know, I lost touch with it. It's 25 years, I did not do anything, then all of a sudden you have to do things. I used to get demotivated. कभी कभी मैंने बोला नहीं यार मैं छोड़ देता हूँ. So बोलता, you know, he used to tell, you have done so much, why not, it is only little more. Joji was another person. Joji, where are you? Joji was another person who used to get motivate me, because, you know, there were two things. You know, this book has got 3 parts. First part talks about the illness, that is dementia, Alzheimer's, a problem of elderly, manage that. Second part, philosophy. Philosophy, actually, if I were there as a philosophy student, probably it would have been easy. But, you know, it... And Manu also is there.
Okay, so birthday boy number 2, please come here. My son shares birthday with Roney George, so they celebrate their birthday together. I wish you could see the cake. It's beautiful cake. One is the book itself, and the other one is Happy Birthday, Roney and Manav. So can we light?
That is also in the form of a book only.
ये स्पॉइल नहीं होगा ना? ऊपर ही करूं? So you are ready with the knife?
हम दोनों साथ में हैं.
Come here. To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Roney Manav. Happy birthday to you.